The wall will also be paid for indirectly by the great new trade deal we have made with Mexico.
So that deal hasn't been ratified by Congress yet, and even if it is, nothing earmarks money for the wall. And finally, this last night.
The federal government remains shut down for one reason, and one reason only, because Democrats will not fund border security.
And that's just wrong. Last week, the congressional Democrats passed a bill that offers $1.3 billion for security at the border. That offer is still on the table, but the Senate has refused to take it up. He wants the wall, the president. Let's talk about it. Joining me now, Sirius XM radio host Pete Dominick and Republican strategist Jen Kerns. So, Pete, I want your thoughts on this. Did you watch last night, and do you think the president is using fear to get this wall built? And I don't think it's ever going to happen. Nancy Pelosi saying no way.
Yeah, Susan, I did. I watched it last night. I stayed up, and it was a completely inappropriate usage of the Oval Office address by a president. Obviously, it was filled with things that needed to be fact-checked, lies, untruths. And, of course, he's using fear. He's always used fear. He announced that he would be running for president by generalizing about people south of the border that they were rapists and murderers. He's used fear to win everything. And guess what? It's not working any longer, and it didn't with most Americans from the start.
Yeah, what happened to that caravan right before the midterms?
The invasion, yeah. I mean, he uses this kind of rhetoric all the time. He sent troops to the border. There is no crisis at the border. He is using it. His vice president is using it. Everybody's using that word over and over. But we know the facts say otherwise. Net traffic is down. More people are leaving America, undocumented immigrants, than are coming in. It's really, really irresponsible and wrong.
Jen, I want to talk about the shutdown and how many people are affected by this. We just heard from one woman who says her son's in college. She can't pay the bill. She just can't because she is a TSA agent. She's showing up, not getting paid. President Trump last night not even mentioning the workers that it affects.
Well, first of all, I have to address this. You know, for Chuck Schumer to say this was an inappropriate use of the Oval Office when his own president, Bill Clinton, used the Oval Office to announce he was bombing an aspirin factory 1 week after the Monica Lewinsky scandal came to a head is laughable. So
but we're talking about now and the shutdown now and how people are affected now.
But look, this is a crisis, and some of the numbers of illegal immigration have gone down, but others have spiked, including migrant folks coming here to seek asylum. You have 800,000 cases currently backlogged in the U.S. immigration court systems, and you have 2,000 migrants coming here every single day to seek shelter. We do not have the housing or the processes to handle those.
But is there criminality there, Jen? Is there criminality?
Yes.
Are those people dangerous, or are they just looking for a safe way to live with their children?
Yes. So here it is by the numbers. The U.S. Immigration and Customs Forces have arrested 266,000 illegal immigrants for criminal offenses. 100,000 of those were for violent assaults. 33,000 of those, these are just in the last 2 years, 33,000 of those were for sexual assaults. And I can tell you as a woman, I'm very surprised that Nancy Pelosi is not defending American women here. She claims to be such a champion of women. I find it very shocking she doesn't protect women in this way.
There are criminals in the U.S. as well, though. Pete, I want your take on this.
Yeah, of course, Americans are the people committing the vast majority of crimes. And when you compare it per capita, undocumented people are comparing. I mean, you don't excuse any one crime. Every American mourns for those lost, killed by undocumented immigrants. It's ridiculous to say otherwise. But the vast majority of people that are coming here have always been coming here looking for work and more opportunity. But right now, the issue, it's not a crisis. We agree it's a problem. But the problem is that women and children are fleeing horrible situations in their countries in Central America. America should welcome them. We should welcome them in our communities and our neighborhoods. That's not a crisis. That's who we are. It's a problem, and we should fix it, and not with a wall that won't do anything.
Jen, do you see a compromise coming anytime soon? I mean, we are in week 3 now.
Boy, I wish I could say that I do. You have Nancy Pelosi really dug in here saying she won't even give $1 to border security. And look, President Trump has made it very clear. I was on a White House briefing call just before this. And look, this isn't just funding for a wall. President Trump has laid out, and I think will continue to lay out today and tomorrow. You'll be hearing this in the news. Additional funding for a couple 100,000 more Border Patrol agents. Additional funding, not just for
but
a wall,
taking
but
away
for fences,
funding from
partitions.
FEMA in California, where they need it the most devastating fires. He's now threatening that on Twitter.
Well, I haven't seen that, but look, you talk about California. I lived and worked there for nearly 15 years. That is a state that is under siege from illegal immigrant crime. You look at crime statistics in some of those cities, places like Fresno, where crime is up 57%. It happens to coincide with the illegal immigration numbers there. You know, I have friends and colleagues that work along the border there in San Diego, where agents are being attacked just 2 and 3 minutes from downtown San Diego.
I've got to get Pete in really quick here, and then we're out of time. Pete, couple seconds.
Listen, we got to fact check real quick, Jen. Nancy Pelosi absolutely, and all Democrats want border security, and they've offered money for border security. She says she doesn't want a wall, and you know, California, that kind of rhetoric, under siege. Nobody in California thinks they're under siege, including law enforcement. And finally,
they certainly do. They most certainly do. I talk to them every day.
All of the mass shootings recently done by Americans, by the way.
We can be right. Violence is almost exclusively committed by Americans on Americans. We can agree, Jen, and all Americans can agree there's a problem. We can agree on that. But we can't agree that a wall will solve this problem. A wall will not stop drugs, and it will not stop people from coming.
And we
know
have
the
to
facts.
come together.
That's exactly why.
With some
that's
sort
exactly
of
why
compromise.
Trump has in his plan. Yep, the scanning systems for detecting those drugs and other
Gotta
things.
run, guys. Yeah, but the wall is not going to happen, as Pelosi said. All right, thank you to both Pete Dominick, Jen Kerns. Always like your takes on this. Thanks.